Since uploading the video on Monday, I had a few minor updates that I wanted to let you guys know. And I also did a few interviews with people that got affected by the scam. But first, the minor updates. The scammers targeted so far 5 different card shows across the United States. There's 2 over in Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Card Show and the Industry Summit. We'd also know Dallas, the Bay Area Card Show, which is in Clearwater, Florida, right next to Tampa Bay, and also the Philly Card Show. So 5 different card shows have been affected. Now, the other situation involves Mike Baker. In my first video, I talked about how the stickers might be fake on the Mike Baker cards. And I ended up talking to Mike Baker after that video got released, and he confirmed that the stickers are actually real, and so are the Jordans. During that day, he graded multiple Jordans from those guys, and the stickers at trade night were real, as he confirmed the cards right after the whole situation happened. So all the news saying that the Mike Baker stickers were fake or didn't have foil was incorrect, and people saying that the Jordans within the Mike Baker sleeves were fake is incorrect. Mike authenticated them that day. Now, my own theory on what happened with those Jordans, I think they cracked them out of PSA slabs, got the flips, and are going to use them in the next generation of fake cases. But that is my own theory. There's probably millions of them out there. Now, I also wanted to do 3 interviews with people that got scammed by this situation. So here are those interviews right now. Here with Kevin, also known as Boosted LA on Instagram. So you were the first person that got scammed, at least from my interactions of talking to people, and that was at the Las Vegas Card Show, correct?
Correct. The one at the end of October. There was a guy that reached out to me yesterday that was actually scammed by the same card at the first show in Vegas in September, the Beckett Industry Summit. But yeah, I guess the first knowingly, because he ended up moving that card to Hit Parade for their hit packs, and they found out it was fake, but they thought it was just like a one-time isolated incident.
So when you did you end up submitting that card to PSA, or did someone else send it, or how did that happen? Because when I was talking to my PSA rep about the whole situation, they said that a card was sent in with the same exact Tom Brady serial number, and then they put a big X across it. And then I see your post on social media. Someone literally sends it to me as I'm recording the video yesterday, and it's the one with the X all across it and the hole, which verifies that story. So how did that end up happening?
Yeah, so I actually still have that card in possession. I did a deal with just a guy that was walking the floor end of October at the Las Vegas show. He seemed like a normal guy. We just did a straight trade for 3 of my slabs for his card. At the end of the ordeal, I usually like to post on my Instagram and tag them in it. So I asked for his Instagram. He told me he didn't have one. And I asked, could I have your IG? And he thought I said ID. So he actually showed me his ID, but I don't think I did anything with it, like take a picture of it or anything. Yeah. But I remember distinctly his backpack. He had a military camo backpack on, and that's what stuck with me. But I didn't think much of it at the time because I didn't realize it was a fake. And then later on in the show, I moved it to a buddy of mine that we've done deals several times in the past. We just worked it out in a trade, and he kept that card and submitted to PSA, I think in December. And a few weeks later, PSA hit him up and said, "Hey, this card is fake. We're gonna have to return it. We're gonna deface the slab and basically remove the cert number from it." Because I remember when I scanned it, or my buddy scanned it at the time of our trade, it was still valid. But when I got it returned to me, it clearly, when I tried to scan it or type in the serial number, it didn't exist anymore.
Yeah, so at least from the research that I did, they were replicating real slabs out there and slab generations that people aren't familiar with. They did have some newer lighthouse labels as well, and that was the scam at the Clearwater Card Show. But at least the ones from the 2 different Vegas shows and also Dallas, they used the old slab generations. Now, did they have a sleeve around the slab so you couldn't really feel it, or how did they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it had the gold standard or sleeve on it, and then once you take it out of the sleeve, once I got the card returned to me from my friend, I could clearly tell it was not the same feel as a normal PSA slab. I'm thinking if they use these Brady fakes, they'll get real cards in return if they're getting trades. So then they'll have a good amount of real slabs mixed in with their fakes when they're dealing with other people.
That's where I'm thinking they're going with it. Just pawn off the fake card and then now actually get legitimate. Now, did they work in a team as two, like people were saying? I know Jawad, which I'm going to interview after this, had two people go to his table, and I'm let him say the full story. But were they working as a team at that show as well? Or is it just one?
For me, yeah, my interaction was just with the one guy, the guy in the beanie and with the military backpack. I didn't know until Dallas this past weekend that he was working with a partner.
And then you saw the ID when it was posted all over social media and matched it up at that time?
Yeah, so I was actually in the room when this whole interaction happened, and one of my buddies got close and took a video of the interaction with the cops. And he showed me the video afterwards, and clearly in the cops' hands were two copies of the Brady skyboxes that matched like the same look as the one I received.
All right, guys, I'm here with Henry, and I talked to Boosted LA, and he actually said Henry was the first person, at least to his knowledge, that got scammed by these scammers. This was a month before he got scammed at the Las Vegas card show. Do you want to talk a little bit first about your story on how you ended up getting scammed, the whole situation, how they approached you, how the deal went down, and different things like that?
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I didn't think anything of it until weeks afterwards. So it was an industry summit in Las Vegas. Anybody that was there knows that was a pretty busy show. I had two gentlemen who came up to the table, and we worked out a cash and trade deal. There were multiple cards involved. I want to say it was like 4 or 5 cards involved. And one of the cards that I received back in the trade was the Brady that I sent you the picture of that you have. And actually, I didn't find out that it was a fake until a few months later, at the end of October, or so possibly a few weeks later. Sorry, at the end of October, was in Nashville, and did a deal with Hit Parade, the guys over at Hit Parade. Shout out to Hit Parade, actually, with all the crap that's been going on and breaking and all them. They're still pretty good for our hobby. So Tom and those guys are great. But did a deal with Hit Parade. It was a 54 card deal. And I sent that Brady out in the deal. Hadn't thought anything of it since the time I picked it up in Las Vegas. Hadn't taken it out of the Brady box since Las Vegas. Tom reached out to me a couple weeks after the deal, as they noticed that there was like a crack in the slab, on the PSA slab, so they took it out of the sleeve. When they took it out of the actual PSA holder sleeve, they noticed that there was a seam down the side, and they just kind of peeled it apart with 2 thumbs. Which obviously not a PSA slab if you could just peel it apart with 2 thumbs. So he obviously reached out to me. Obviously we got it figured out. I've known them for a while, so wasn't a big deal. We got that squared away, but obviously very unfortunate because I was out the trade money cash deal from the Las Vegas situation. But nothing had seemed awry at the time. Just seemed like an older certification number. Some people know that sometimes it doesn't scan. And
so I was gonna ask, were all the other cards that they threw in that deal real? And
yes,
like the other examples, did they also use a sleeve around it so you couldn't feel the surface of the PSA slab? Because when I saw the fake slabs, the first thing I noticed right away was just how slippery they were compared to a normal one, and then the cracking of it when I actually took it out of the sleeve.
Correct. So I don't remember the exact cards in the deal. It was just so long ago. However, they had 2 cards that were legitimate, scanned just fine. And they had the cardboard gold sleeves over the PSA slab. So yeah, no, I had no red flags at the time. I'm sure had I sat down and looked at it a little bit closer, I would have been able to figure it out. So that one was on me, obviously. But no, at the time there were no red flags. They seemed like nice enough gentlemen.
But it was 2 people though that ended up trading with you.
2 gentlemen. And it was a cash trade deal. Yep.
Cash trade deal. No socials or anything like that too.
Nope, no socials. And I actually remember saying, go ahead and give me a follow on Instagram. And they said, oh, we don't do any of that. I specifically actually do remember that part at the end. So that's fun.
All right, so I'm here with Jawad. Jawad originally got me involved with this whole situation. We both are always at the Florida card shows, and you got scammed at the Clearwater card show. You posted those cards online, and then you reached out, right? Or what was the full story on that? Like the introduction on that?
Okay, so the original story and what happened was I was at the Clearwater card show, just doing my usual, every time there's a Clearwater card show, I go. And two gentlemen, well, they're not gentlemen, they're scumbags, but they ended up selling me fake PSA graded Jordan cards. So, and a Tom Brady. So the first guy, he came in and sold me 4 cards total, one Tom Brady rookie card, and then 3 PSA graded Jordan rookie cards. And I thought they were legit. I scanned them on the PSA app. They popped up, all the serial numbers matched, everything was good. So we did the deal. I gave him about 12,000 cash for the 4 cards. And then about 30 minutes to an hour later, the second guy came in with 2 more Jordan graded rookie cards. Same thing. I scanned them. They looked good. And come to find out, I went to go list them on eBay. I had maybe 10, 15 messages of people saying they were fake. So I was like messaging them back, how are they fake? They scan on PSA's website. The authentication pops up. Bada bing, bada boom. I contacted you, and then you verified that, yeah, they were indeed fake.
Do you have any of them on you can show people real quick? This to show like how good the quality of these cases were.
Yeah. So I have them all right here. PSA 3. I mean, they're really good quality. Here's the 7.
And the only one that didn't have a lighthouse was that Brady, right? Everything else had the lighthouse.
Yeah, everything else had the lighthouse. So here's the Brady. The Brady was the old slab.
And what's crazy about the Brady too is it actually is the foil on the card. Most counterfeits that I've seen, and even when I made the Brady video, they didn't have any foil, but they went out of the way to add the foil to this one.
Yeah, I mean, they're in the heat of the moment. And I mean, I do so much business with cards every single month. In the heat of the moment, they would have gotten anybody. I mean, I've talked to several people. They were like, yeah, they would have got me too. Because the biggest thing is they scanned on PSA and it showed the certification number. So that was like a huge thing.
I'd say they also had the plastic sleeves on them, correct?
Yeah. So they had the plastic sleeves on them. So you couldn't feel like if the slab was off or anything. That's another thing in the heat of the moment. So they for those that don't know, the plastic sleeves like this were in, so you wouldn't even feel if the slab was off.
Now, did these guys give you any option to pay through PayPal, Venmo, or anything, or were they, I need cash only for these cards?
No, I didn't ask because I always do cash, but I mean, I would assume they would have been like, nah, we can't take PayPal. But then I come to find out that they were working together at the Dallas card show when they got busted Saturday.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about what happened at the Dallas card show trade night? Because you're also involved in that situation as well.
Yes, 100%. Okay, so I was at the Dallas card show trade night. Everything was just going fine. I didn't notice them at all. I didn't see them. I was probably there for like 2-3 hours, just walking around the room. Then all of a sudden, the show manager, I would assume that's who it was, he locked down the whole entire room. He said, nobody's going anywhere. We're going to figure out what's going on. Everybody was like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? As soon as he said that, I had a feeling that somebody got, sold fake cards or something to do with scamming was going along. So my senses went up and I started looking around. And I swear to God, as soon as I looked up, I saw one of the guys that scammed me. I couldn't believe it. So my adrenaline started pumping and I had cards out on a table and I started putting them away in my book bag. And then I went to the show manager. I'm like, this is the guy who scanned me at 17,000 in Tampa. One of the guys was the first guy. So then I met Luke, and Luke was the other person. The reason the room was locked down was because of Luke. He got scammed 2 PSA graded cards. He went to go sell them to someone else in the room and they said they were fake. So I started talking to Luke. I said, Luke, who scammed you? Who scammed you, Luke? And Luke, at first, he was hesitant. He didn't want to create drama, which I understand. And he pointed out the other guy that scammed me. So then I saw it was both of them right there. And I was like, these are both the same guys. So then the police officer came over and got both of them together. And then they brought them outside. The show manager said, listen, keep pushing. We got to get these guys if they really are scammers. So then the one guy, he kept trying to get up and leave. That's why he got arrested, because he kept trying to go somewhere. And then he resisted arrest and tried to run. And then that's why that whole video of him on the floor happened.
Now, were both arrested or just that one guy that resisted?
The one guy that resisted was arrested. And then the other guy, I'm not sure. I think I saw him go into a police car because I was outside. They were both in the police car, in separate police cars. So I don't know. I know for sure the guy that ran and resisted got arrested. And there's a whole police report. The Jordans were real, if Mike confirmed it, but the cards in question were never the Jordans. The cards in question were the 2 fake slabs. That's what Luke got scammed with. Nobody got scammed with the Jordans. Now that I think back at it, that's how they tried to get out of it. When the police officer sat them down, they whipped out the Jordans and they're like, oh, we're not selling fake cards. We have these real Jordans. But the cards in question were never the Jordans. The cards in question were the 2 fake slabs.
Which would line up with that. And the other thing too, I did an interview before this, but they're actually trading out the cards now too. So they'll make like a bundle trade deal. They'll put one of the fake slabs in there with other real cards and then pawn it off to someone else to deal with that issue. I don't know if they try to make that offer to you at the table at all, or did they just look for cash?
They had a couple more cards, so maybe the other cards were real, but those were the cards I just wasn't interested in. I was interested in the Jordans, so they probably were going to try to do that. If it didn't work with me, they would have went to someone else.
What the other cards that they had in their case were, at least so people were a little bit alert?
Yeah, they had a Patrick Mahomes PSA graded card. I think that was it. Like 2 Patrick Mahomes graded cards.
Were they prisms? Were they Donruss, or what were they doing?
Optic, if I remember correctly. Optic rookies. Yep.
I haven't heard too much of fake optic cards because the chrome material is a lot more difficult to make. I've seen some poorly made ones on eBay once, but that's about it.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I know for sure it was Patrick Mahomes. I'm not sure. I'm 99% sure it was optic, but who knows? Maybe those were real cards, the optics, the Patrick Mahomes.
Hey, yeah, well, I appreciate you doing this interview so people get a little bit more information on what happened both at Clearwater and the trade night.
No problem. Thank you. Thanks for having me, man.